According to many, Tyson Fury is on a different level than Francis Ngannou. In a prospective boxing bout with UFC heavyweight champion Ngannou, boxing's heavyweight champion is a tremendous favorite. However, until the match goes down, we have no idea who will come out victorious. Obviously, if Ngannou manages to beat Fury, it would be a huge win for him and a huge surprise. Stay tuned for all the insider details. First, why Tyson Fury is the favorite in a potential upcoming boxing match with Francis Ngannou. In a hypothetical boxing bout with UFC heavyweight champion Ngannou, different online betting sites like boxing's heavyweight champion as a massive favorite. If the fight is declared official, Fury is currently listed as a -600 favorite. Recent social media exchanges have sparked discussion on a Fury-Ngannou crossover battle, with Fury suggesting that the two fight in the boxing ring, with both combatants wearing MMA gloves rather than standard boxing gloves. Ngannou answered by offering they fight under MMA rules while wearing boxing gloves, later adding that he'd be willing to fight Fury any place, including a ring, an octagon, or a phone booth. Ngannou also recently indicated that his next UFC deal must allow him to pursue boxing opportunities. It's worth noting that speculative odds strongly suggest that a boxing battle between Fury and Ngannou will not take place in 2022. Fury is coming off a great trilogy fight in October against Deontay Wilder. In round 11, the Gypsy King knocked out Wilder to move to 2-0-1 in the series versus his American opponent, whereas Ngannou, 16-13 MMA with 12 KOs, has never competed professionally in boxing, though he contemplated it before deciding to pursue a successful MMA career. He earned the UFC heavyweight title by KOing Stipe Miocic in the second round at UFC 260 in March. Ngannou's next fight is a unification bout against interim champion Cyril Gane at UFC 270 on January 22nd at Honda Center in Anaheim, California. It will be interesting to see if this fight comes to fruition and the two really meet in the boxing ring. The public certainly want this bout, and so do the fighters. Watch this space to find out if this fight becomes official. What do you think of the potential bout between Fury and Ngannou? There have been rumors of a fight between UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou and WBC heavyweight champion Tyson Fury in recent months. Former MMA Factory trainer Fernando Lopez, who has been feuding with Ngannou since the latter's departure, shared his thoughts on Ngannou's desire to be a two-way combat sports celebrity. While Ngannou expressed his interest in boxing as a child, he has never entered a ring. To some extent, the transfer makes sense, but Lopez believes Ngannou's inexperience will cost him. Lopez stated, "I think the fight makes sense for Francis because he thinks he can cash out," Lopez said. It would take at least 3 years for Francis Ngannou to be competitive from a boxing standpoint with Tyson Fury, and I mean 3 years only dedicated to boxing. I'm not sure Francis can ever challenge the stamina and endurance of Tyson Fury. All he can do is have a high defense, be elusive, close footwork, change direction. Ngannou began boxing at the age of 22 and decided to make a career out of it at the age of 26. While in Paris, he met Lopez, who persuaded him to enter the world of mixed martial arts. Ngannou was a member of MMA Factory from 2013 until 2018, knocking out opponents with ease. He joined the UFC in 2015 and won 6 straight fights before losing the UFC heavyweight belt to Stipe Miocic in January 2018. He left MMA Factory for Extreme Couture and has won 5 consecutive fights since November 2018, including the UFC heavyweight title in March. On the other hand, Fury, 31-0-1, has been fighting since roughly 2006 and has been boxing professionally since 2008. In the 2008 English National Championships, the lineal champion received gold. In 2020, the Gypsy King defeated Deontay Wilder to win the WBC heavyweight title, and in 2021, he earned $54 million. Aside from Lopez, Ngannou has been at odds with the UFC over his contract. A bout with John Jones was canceled due to financial reasons, and Ngannou, 35, is searching for the finest offer possible, especially as a champion. Lopez believes that switching to boxing would decrease his earnings potential, as well as the years of skills he would need to learn to enter a ring. Lopez continued, stating, "We're not expecting anything brilliant. Francis is not a boxer. You train a lot to be a boxer. Boxing needs dedication. Boxing boxing needs sacrifice. You need years and years to train, clearly indicating how this was a money grab and that Ngannou, since the fighter departed MMA Factory, Ngannou and Lopez have been feuding. Part of this issue is that Ngannou believes Lopez wanted to be the center of attention, which has caused Lopez to doubt his own abilities. Another aspect is Ngannou and Gane's sparring film, which the latter says was disseminated to make him seem bad. Jake Paul, the problem child, continues to get called and call fighters out. For his next big move, Jake Paul has been thinking about becoming a genuine professional boxer, similar to Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., or even attempting a switch over to MMA and UFC. The problem child has come out victorious in 5 out of 5 fights, most recently knocking Tyrone Woodley out cold with a sensational KO. Ben Askren and Woodley, both former UFC fighters, along with social media stars and SN Gibb, which he came out victorious twice. And finally, Nate Robinson, an ex-basketball player. Paul was supposed to fight Tommy Fury until the WBC heavyweight champion's younger brother withdrew due to apparent medical issues. It's clear that the problem child has his sights set on Chavez Jr., who also happens to be the son of a boxing icon and a 61-fight veteran. Speaking about the potential bout, Paul stated, "I like that fight a lot because it silences the critics." Paul told an online news outlet, he continued, "Even after I knocked out Woodley, they were like, 'Fight a real boxer,' and I'm like, 'You guys, I tried.' And he, Tommy Fury, dropped out of the fight 2 weeks before. I want to fight a real boxer and I'm going to. Just have some patience." Unfortunately, Mexico's Chavez Jr. has fallen short of his dad's incredible reputation, losing to UFC legend Anderson Silva in a boxing match earlier this year. He'd be a significant jump up in class for Paul, and he feels he can beat the 24-year-old. "Keep in mind that I'll have to get all the way up to 190 pounds, Lopez explained. "It's a danger since Jake Paul is a large person and weight is a factor. Their supporters may want to see me lose and profit, but he has no boxing experience. I'm confident that I can take him out. I'm feeling better little by little, and if the Paul fight happens, I'll be very well prepared to win. I will not lose." In the mindset of his current feud with UFC president Dana White and the sport's biggest names, Paul also teased footage of himself training in mixed martial arts. Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz, Jorge Masvidal, and Kamaru Usman are among the top competitors in the UFC, and he has previously warned, "I'm going to shame them as well, that I can assure you. People ought to be terrified. There is no one who's safe. Everyone is on the edge of their seats." In addition, Jake Paul has named his 5-fight bucket list. While happenings in the background continue to unfold, including the announcement of the YouTube star's prospective next opponent. On Thursday, Paul took to Twitter to say that pound-for-pound superstar Canelo Alvarez was at the top of his wish list. With Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson, and Tyson Fury on his list, the online sensation is clearly aiming high. The final name on the list is Dana White, who has only added fuel to the fire between the two when Paul chastised the UFC president for how he treats his athletes. Speaking on his brother Logan's podcast, Paul said, "I make more than every UFC fighter combined, including Conor. Y'all work for Dana. Y'all work for WME Endeavor. That's who you work for." Paul's celebrity has allowed him to deprive boxing promoters of the power to demand contests, which US media personality Stephen A. Smith described as a wonderful thing for the sport. Smith did add, however, that Paul calling out Alvarez was an insult, and you can imagine how he'd respond if the YouTuber added Tyson to that list. Paul has been under fire for not fighting a legitimate boxer, despite the fact that he was due to do so in his most recent battle with Tommy Fury backed out. It's clear that this topic of conversation is not going anywhere anytime soon, and people will continue to hound the problem child until he can prove his skills against an equal opponent. And there you have it, everything you need to know about Tyson Fury and how he is currently the favorite in a speculative fight between him and Francis Ngannou, what others think of this bout, and whether or not Ngannou would even stand a chance against the legendary Fury. Additionally, we also touched on the controversial issue plaguing the boxing world currently: who will Jake Paul fight next, and will it finally be an equal opponent? Make sure to let us know your thoughts down below. But if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss any of our new and upcoming content. Thanks for watching.